In the last video, we learned how to open and read files. Now it's time to learn how to write data into a file, something you will need to for saving user input, logs, or generated results. So there are multiple modes to write into a file. So we have the W means the write method, which creates file or overwrites the existing one. Okay. Then we have the append mode, which adds content to the end of the line. Then we have this X mode, means exclusive, and it creates a new file but gives an error it already exists. So let's dive into each step by step. So first let's have a look over the write mode. Now we have a text file, which is test.txt file, which we created in our previous video. And this text file contains some content, which is hello, subscribe to this channel 5 times, then some other content, then a long content, and again some text. So keep in mind that we have this file already in the root folder where the writefile.py is located. Keeping that in mind, let's proceed further. So now I'm gonna write with open. By the way, we learned this with keyword and the use case in our previous video. You can check that out. And inside open, we can tell a file name, for example notes.txt. Instead of file name, you can give a path as well. So if you want to create the file inside another folder, for example if you want to create the file inside the test folder or this another folder, you can just write the path here by this. So test folder /. But let's not go there. We understood this in our previous video. We want to create this notes.txt file in the my project folder. Okay, so in the root folder. And after writing the file name, we give the mode, and that is W, means the write mode. And after that, we just write as and file. You can name this anything. And inside this block, you can just write file dot write, and here you can put any string. For example, Python is awesome. Okay, and you can write /n as well for a new line. So after writing this line, it will move the cursor to a new line. Then you can just write another line. So file.write, and here we can say let's keep learning, and again /n. Okay, now as we are using the with keyword, we don't have to close the file, so we don't have to call file.close. But if we don't use this with keyword, then we have to close the file manually. So keep that in mind. If I run the code and if I open this folder and if I check if the file got created, yeah, actually Python created this file, which is notes.txt. And if I open the file, you will see we have those two lines. Python is awesome, then let's keep learning, and an empty line because we used /n after this line. Okay, so behind the scenes, if notes.txt doesn't exist, it's created. But if it already exists, it gets overwritten, and the /n is used to insert a new line. You will understand the overwritten part if I remove this line, and here instead of Python is awesome, we can write subscribe to this channel. Okay, so now this notes.txt contains those two lines, but if I run this code now, it will overwrite this file, means it will remove these lines, it will delete the notes.txt file and recreate the notes.txt file with this content. So if I run the code and if I go to notes.txt, you'll see that now it contains the content subscribe to this channel. Okay, now let's say you want a way so it should not recreate the file, but it should append the content with the previous content. So for that, we just comment this and let's see the example with the mode A, means append. Okay, and here we can write with, then open, and here we give notes.txt. By the way, you can give here any path, so we are just writing the file name because it is in the same folder where the write file is located. Then we give the mode, which is a, means append, and we want that as file and colon to get the block, and here we can say file dot write, and here let's write the string, which is this line will be added without removing previous line. Okay, let me close this file section. Now this notes.txt holds this text which is subscribed to this channel, and other code in this file is commented out. Now if I run this code and visit this notes.txt file, you'll see it does not remove this line. Instead of removing, it added the new line after that old line. So it just appended this line. Okay, so it keeps the previous data and adds this line at the end. Now again, let me comment this code and let's see an example with the mode x, means exclusive. So if I write here with open, and let's call this file new file.txt, and the mode is x, and as file colon we get a block, and here I can write file dot write, and we can say that this file is created using mode x. Okay, now if I run the code and open the file portal, you will see that new file.txt got created, and the text this file is created using the mode x. Okay, but let's try to create this file again with the mode x. So in the previous example, the file was not available, so it created without any error. But what if the file already exists? So now the file already exists because we created that in our previous example. So if we try to create that again with mode x, it will create, but it will throw an error. So file exists error, file exists new file.txt. I hope you understood these codes. Now let's see some cool examples which is not related to the basics. We understood them. So let's see how we can write multiple lines at once. For that, let's say we have a list called lines. There we have some strings. For example, this is line 1, then /n, and comma, line 2, /n, then a line 3, and again /n. And here we can write with open, and we can create a file which is multiline.txt, and mode would be write as file, and inside the block we can write file dot write lines, and we can just pass the lines. Okay, the list of the strings actually. Now if I run the code and check my folder, as you can see the multiline.txt file got created, and as you can see there are some lines, line 1, line 2, and line 3. Okay, so I hope you understood how to insert or write multiple lines at once. Let me comment this out and show you another cool example, and this time with user inputs. So for example, we have a variable called user input, and there we call the input method, and here we tell the user that enter a note. Okay, and then we do the file handling part. So we write with open, we give the file name or the file path, you can say, so notes.txt, and the mode would be a, means append, then we can write as file, then colon, and we can just write file dot write, then we can just have user input, then we can concatenate with /n for a new line. Okay, now if I run the code, now before that let me show you what we have inside notes.txt. As you can see, inside notes.txt we have this two text, which is subscribe to this channel, and this line will be added without removing previous line. Okay, so we have those two lines. So after running the code, it will ask the user for a note. So let's enter a note. For example, Naruto, Hinata, Gojo. Okay, now if I submit and if I go to notes.txt, you'll see that it adds Naruto, Hinata and Gojo after the previous text. Okay, it is attached to the previous line because we haven't used \n before the user input here. Again, if you run the code, it will ask for a new note. For example, the new note is Jujutsu Kaisen. You submit and go to notes.txt. As you can see, Jujutsu Kaisen is being added in the file. So whenever or how many times user will run this file and he enters a note, that will be added in that notes file. As you can see, it added. So I hope you understood all the topics explained in this video. In the next video, we'll learn how to delete files in Python using the OS module. It is very useful for cleanup and temporary files, so don't miss it. See you there.